Give you the worst answer in talk radio history. Don't know. But it is harder to defend the Kraft. I have been a guy for years that I thought Bill Belichick ran the Patriots.
Me too.
And I kind of bought into the Kraft saying he took full power and he has the ability. And I thought the Wesleyan major the economics major out of Wesleyan had a certain belief about football and value and teams and hierarchies and contracts and all these things.
Value by position, which a lot of organizations don't do.
And keeping the clubhouse / locker room in order based on paychecks and not paying somebody more than my best player at that position just because he was a free agent 2 years later.
Right.
Bill would never make it in the NBA because he would say, excuse me, Jason Tatum's my best player,
right, but
Jaylen Brown makes way more money.
Nope.
I think Bill would say, I don't know how your world works, but your world is stupid.
Yeah.
I think he would really look at it that way. But the facts are, Bill's gone. You can't blame him anymore for anything. Anything. And people are like, wait a minute. Why does this feel like the same approach we've had for so long where values are placed on guys and we're winning the contract and we won't go overextend ourselves even if we have the money to spend?
Terrible roster, but let's bring a whole bunch back.
Right. Whereas there's only now you say, well, Elliott Wolf was kind of here, but he wasn't pushing Bill. He wasn't telling Bill what to do for the last 4 or 5 years. Gerard Mayo's been here for 5 years. He wasn't telling Bill what to do.
Nope.
There's only one person who's still here that could have been telling Bill what to do that would have influenced it back then and could influence it now.
And they call me Thunder.
Right? Right? Is that fair? Like, circumstantially, from afar, I don't know if there's another way to read it, whether that's true or not. Now, the other issue is, I think we sometimes, the actual paycheck, signing bonuses, I think those are more valuable.
The real money that gets spent in free agency every year.
And the real money that gets put either in the pocket of the player immediately or at the very least in escrow immediately to pay off the guarantees.
There you go.
And there are escrows in the NFL. It's not like, I guarantee you $100 million. I'll come up with it somewhere. No. When you guarantee it, you show it. You put it on the table. You put it in. It's in escrow somewhere.
So just quickly, for those who don't understand the process, long before the salary cap and the TV deals paid for the players and more, there was worry that players or that owners would go broke, get themselves into a bunch of hock by guaranteeing money or just ripping off signing bonuses and then trying to get the money back later. So if you guaranteed it or put it in a bonus, you either had to give it that day or it was put into escrow to be given later. And now the NFL really doesn't need to do that because you have the cap and you're getting a ton of money, but it's still an antiquated system that they have not rectified.
Sure, but
it requires the owner to come up with real money in the moment.
Right now. Like, we all have equity in our homes, and theoretically, if we wanted to buy something big, we don't have the cash, we go take out a home equity loan, whatever.
Right.
And we can buy it. We don't have it right now. I can't just buy it right now. I'd have to fill out some paperwork, go through some hoops, whatever. No. If I sign you to a $50 million signing bonus, guaranteed money, I have to have the money. I have to set aside that money. And I know in the old days, there was a world where the Patriots did contracts a certain way with like second-year roster bonuses so they could pay it out. Like, we don't have it right now. We'll have it by next March when we have to pay that second-year roster bonus kind of thing. They're not in that world anymore. The finances have changed for them, for the league, for contracts, everything. But the long answer is, I don't know how you can look at it anything other than either the Krafts are specifically setting parameters or working under them. You just feel the parameters, right? Like, sometimes when you work for somebody, they don't tell you what not to do, what not to say, but you know what they believe, and you want your boss to be happy, especially if you're new in the role. You want your boss to be really happy. If you'd like to retain the role, maybe a role that they might interview for after you're done doing the job in May, right? There's all these reports. They're going to interview candidates for GM jobs.
What a crock.
Yeah, it's going to be Elliott Wolf. I'd be stunned if it's not Elliott Wolf, but whatever.
Because then the Krafts will really get ripped. You let a guy, with the number 3 pick.
$100 million in the number 3 pick, and he was an interim?
Right.
You let him interim his way to disaster?
There's no way Elliott Wolf doesn't get this job.
So, as a fan, I think it is quite fair, and especially, I'm going to throw something in here that may be fair, maybe not, and I'm sure people at One Patriot Place don't want this done. But if you ever dabble in the world of Revs fans, they're not real big fans of the Krafts due to the stadium issues and some of those issues.
I only know one from Twitter, and like Corey Capocha is the name that I remember. He's like one of the biggest soccer guys around. I don't even think in his Twitter bio it even says like fan of the Revs anymore. It's like Liverpool or whatever.
Right.
So there are a lot of diehard soccer fans who've been like, oh, man,
right.
really?
And it's tied, I know, into the stadium issue. They don't have a stadium. But a lot of soccer fans, MLS Revs fans, see other teams that are investing money in players and bringing big names in and this and that. And have always thought the Krafts didn't do that. And it wasn't fair to them as fans and that whole, the fort, those passionate fans.
Sporting Kansas City went to Lithuania to get a soccer player. Where are the Krafts?
That's a mindset that percolates in that world. I don't know that world very well, but I know it percolates in there.
Yeah, that's right.
And now you have, I think, that similar mindset like, wait a minute, maybe it wasn't Bill who was cheap. And the word cheap is being thrown around. I got somebody who sent me on Twitter, you might have been on it too. They started a poll. Who's the cheapest owner in Boston sports?
I saw that.
Which right now, it's miraculous in a way to think, wait, people are comparing Robert Kraft to John Henry?
That's unbelievable.
But they're doing it. They are, fair or not, Patriots, it's hard to disprove something, I guess. But right now, the belief is the Patriots and the Krafts are as cheap as the Red Sox and Henry. That's the belief in the fan base.
So right now, the Robert Kraft approval rating from you is what? If 1's the lowest and 10's the highest, where are you at 617-779-7937? I'm at a 7 right now on
7?
Kraft. Here's why.
Woo!
I given what has gone on down there, I think it's pretty easy to see that there is a hell of a lot more of the Belichick ways on value and re-signing players going on than there is the football version of we got cash to burn or let's go full throttle and we're going to weaponize the offense and all that stuff. No, we haven't now. I don't mind that from Elliott Wolf. You need restraint. The guys who get fired quick are the ones who look at Calvin Ridley and say, oh, I'll give him $110 million, right? Like, Christian Wilkins, $110 million, you're getting that's appropriate. When you're pushing that for Calvin Ridley, maybe not so much. But I think it is, I'm almost more on the reason I'm down on Kraft a little bit, and why I'm at a 7 versus like a
still
9
pretty
or a
high.
10, still pretty high, is just the whole blind faith that what he is going to do is going to work for whatever reason is in his head. I know I've been on Mayo today on the whole, be the great connector, be the guy that closes the gap to get a Calvin Ridley here, right? All that stuff. I think there was a thought down there from Mr. Kraft that, well, if I get rid of this old D-head and bring in this guy who's young and hip and da-da-da, then this is all going to fall into place. And so far right now, not a lot of stuff has been falling into place. So for me, it's more of Kraft on the blind faith that I'm just going to shove Mayo in there without a coaching search. And, oh, by the way, I might have this guy as GM or not. They acting like they're leaving it open. The plan, beginning to end, was this from Robert Kraft, in my opinion. Get rid of Bill, put in Mayo. After that, had no plan, had no idea, had no thought process, had no help in terms of getting Gerard Mayo either up to speed or ready to be able to hire an offensive staff and all that kind of stuff. I really do believe the reason they didn't go crazy on Ridley is because of Elliott Wolf and that he showed some restraint. I don't think it's Kraft down there saying, no, you can't do this, you can't do that. In my opinion, if you're looking, there are lots of ways to guarantee money. Lots of ways. Like you said, it doesn't always have to be in a signing bonus where the owner's got to go to the ATM and make a withdrawal and turn around and hand it to a player. There are ways to be able to dress that up. Right now, given what I've seen from Elliott Wolf, it's a hell of a lot more of the Belichick ways going on down there than it is the swashbuckling, hey, we're just going to, throw the money into the harbor type stuff. Where do you land, folks? 617-779-7937. Is this a Kraft deal? And what's the approval rating on RKK right now? Because, Hart, you and I have not really done a deep dive into this, but there are some people who are upset at the dynasty. And
absolutely.
Robert Kraft's sort of some of what he has said, what's in it, all that kind of stuff. That's another thing where, it's become pretty evident in the last 4 months with the whole mutual parting of ways with Bill and da-da-da, The PR campaign. Now everybody is hip to the game. We knew Mr. Kraft loved the region and that he loved us, but good God almighty, if we don't love him back, what's going to happen?
So the dynasty, I don't know how much final say Robert Kraft had in it. I'll try to take Jeff Benedict at his word and say it's not a Kraft production. He didn't have final edits and anything like that. Either way, it's done a disservice to his reputation right now.
Agreed.
It has not. If it was intended to promote him and make him look good and put him in the Hall of Fame, it has failed miserably.
And that's got to bother him, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And it's going to get worse because I'm a man of the people. So I watch with the people. Thursday night or Friday morning. Man of the people. I'm not a media snob who's like, I want my early copy, blah, blah, blah.
Mr. Noble.
So from what I understand, fans are going to get even more upset at the conclusion tonight in episodes 9 and 10,
yes, they
which
are.
I'm sure we'll talk about tomorrow. That's not good. You marry that up with Bill gone. You marry that up with you let Bill get rid of Tom. This has all happened relatively recently. Mm-hmm. You set up an offseason where by design or by idiocy, the head coach and the GM or director of scouting said things like burn cash, 1,000% going to go get talent. We're going to weaponize the team. You set an expectation. Those guys that are on your watch that you picked set an expectation.
Yes, sir.
You overpromised and underdelivered so far. Everybody's pissed off, and they're no longer pointing the finger below you. They're pointing it at you. And I think we were supposed to take the dynasty as he did a remarkable job keeping Belichick and Brady together for as long as he did. That hasn't been the theme that people are taking from it. They're like, this is a hatchet job on Bill.
Do you think we are I know that there were times where, like Christian, I would say, and I think you might have even been in on this a little bit as well. It's like the whole be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick is flawed. There's no question. But be careful what you wish for. Do you think people are at that stage of being like, oh, this hasn't gone the way I thought. Maybe it wasn't so bad.
Also, I think I think there's some of that. Now, I think it was time for Bill to go. Mm-hmm. I don't want Bill back. I'm not saying that. I think Bill played a role in the last 4 years, screwing things up and things going in the wrong direction. Nothing more notable than the coaching decisions he made. But I also think there's a chance, yes, Bill's hubris, ego, success, cachet got the best of him, and he lost his fastball or the game passed him by. Decisions didn't keep working out.
He made arrogant decisions. Like, you make Matt Patricia your OC as an arrogant decision.
Well, when you have a lot of success, you tend to have arrogance. And
no question.
I think the same could be true for Robert Kraft. He's been an elite Hall of Fame level owner for 30 years. Mm-hmm. 30 years. I'm predating Belichick. He did a pretty damn good job in the 90s. He went to a Super Bowl. He had winning, and he's not the dumb owner that exists in other places. I can tell you that.
He was the first couple of years and figured it out quick.
You learn.
Yep.
But I do believe, interestingly, his approval rating, in my opinion, is the lowest it's ever been. Mm-hmm. Just reading the tea leaves, the Twitter, I actually polled some people, some other reporters, like for that late 90s. I don't remember the post-Parcells, Pete Carroll time there.
Oh, so you didn't ask Cadlick? Or?
No, I did not. I asked some notable guys that were around at the time, and they're like, yeah, there was criticisms then, the Tabucky stopwatch era, some things there. But a lot of people believe his approval rating or the confidence in Robert Kraft as the owner of the Patriots is lower than it's ever been. And I think that might be fair. Like, you're also at the toughest time. The toughest time is coming off a dynasty. The toughest time is turning things over. Toughest time is replacing legends at quarterback and GM and head coach. Those two guys, those three roles, hard to do. I think maybe some of the decisions he made in the past worked out. He went with his gut. He famously told us, goes with his gut a lot, and it works. I think Bill does too, and it works. Yeah, I'm not going to call a timeout over there. They think I should call a timeout on that side of the field in the Super Bowl. I'm not going to. I don't know why, but I'm not going to.
And then Butler makes a pick, and it's history.
And you win. Mm-hmm. Same thing with Robert Kraft. I'm going to go with my gut. My gut has treated me well over the years. His gut might not be working as well anymore. He needs a probiotic.
The 617-779-7937. Robert Kraft's approval rating for you is what? 1 is the low, 10 is the high. You take it from there at 617-779-7937. The 413 Hart sounds like he's the people's champion.
Well, it actually says Andrew Thomas Hart. My middle name's not Thomas.
Oh, okay. Well, then there you go. So that wasn't wrong.
It's a fine middle name, though.